It's Monday, and I hope you're still moving. I've made this channel for photography and videography, but I think we're so much more than that. I'm not the most technical person. There's a lot more you can learn from other professionals. However, I think who we are as creatives makes us unique, and that's something that's very hard and intimate for all of us to share. I remember flirting with the idea of YouTube. This is translated from a Romanian saying. Since 2015. That's when I actually started recording. I've got so many unedited videos, I cannot believe myself. However, there was some sort of mixture between, I don't know, maybe having the imposter syndrome, being very conflicted with myself. There's a difference between people seeking attention and seeking approval, but I don't think I was doing any of that. YouTube allows us to be creative on such a diverse level. So I've had this conversation with myself many times, like, what can I bring to the table? Is it entertainment? Is it education and practicality? What is it that makes me who I am? And ultimately, I don't think that's something you need to prove. I think that's just something that you need to do. I've been stuck in my head for many, many years, and I think that was somehow counterproductive. I wasn't seeking anyone's approval. I had too much of a critical approach to my work because I'm comparing myself with really big names out there. And I feel that yes, if I am to consider their achievements, I'm very, very small compared to them. However, that doesn't make me any less of who I am. Today's video might not make any sense, or it might make a lot of sense. If you've struggled with being too critical on yourself, then you might be able to relate to what I'm saying. In these last 5 years, besides giving myself a hard time, I've learned that everyone functions at a different speed, but because this is not a race, being faster doesn't mean that you're better. Being slower doesn't mean that you're weaker. Creating content for myself is a form of self-expression. And the fact that I failed to do this consistently for the past 5 years just means that I had more time to process my message, to process my workflow, to process my relationship with myself. And that's a conversation we should all have. When your creative process is your form of self-expression, then that conversation is more real and it doesn't have a deadline to it. Yes, there are a lot of people that have done it quicker, faster, or better from some standards. We don't need duplicates of existing artists. We need unique individuals to come and add to the table, to add to the conversation. I do think the internet can be a scary place. I do think people can be unnecessarily hurtful. I do think people project their frustrations on people who are actually doing stuff instead of appreciating the effort behind and the good impact that they have in the world. I think bullying is real. However, I'm not afraid of that. I'm more afraid of not doing anything. And I've spent quite a bit of time not doing anything in certain areas. And I think that resulted in repressed creativity and repressed feelings. And I got to the conclusion that for me, content creation is a form of self-expression. This is how I function, this is how I think, this is how I see the world. Being a photographer and a videographer is my full-time job. However, that's not enough. And you get to a point where and when, as exciting as work for clients is, it's not enough. And it's not who you are. Your work is defined by the customer's satisfaction, but that doesn't define you as a creative entirely, and that's only up to you to figure out. Particularly challenging for photographers and videographers. As funny as it sounds, like the people who are most used to having a camera in their hands. Believe me, the transition from being behind the camera to being in front of the camera is quite challenging because we understand the standards we want our work to be at. When you're behind the camera, everything is expressed and created in a more subtle way. When you come in front of the camera, the conversation becomes more real. Everyone should do it at their own speed. This is the lesson that I've learned lately, that it's okay to start from scratch over and over again. It's okay to address basic topics that for you are insanely basic. It's okay to start, it's okay to fail, but it's not okay to give up. Not if that affects you, not if whatever you've given up is still on your mind, because that transforms into a regret. I think jealousy is pointless, and I think that whenever we are jealous of someone else's success, that says a lot about us and nothing about the person we're jealous of. There's something in us that tells us that you could have done that. You could have put the work in, and you could have now enjoyed the same results. I've got an agenda with ideas written, and I was thinking, what should I discuss about today? And I didn't feel like doing a basic tutorial today. And I found this quote, I don't know where I have it from, and it says, "The struggle is guaranteed, the success is not." I think it's unrealistic to try to define ourselves as creatives through one big milestone, through one big project or achievement. I think it's in all the daily steps, in all our actions that build up and result into a more defined shape. As creatives, we're quite volatile. The creative mind that's in all of us is such a complex and endless place that we cannot expect to express ourselves or to be understood at once. It comes in tiny steps. Otherwise, we can be overwhelming. It's like when you meet a new person, you don't pour all of your life's stories and all of your thoughts, I hope you're not, into one conversation, because that would be overwhelming and that would make you look very chaotic. It's fine to take it a step at a time. I'm curious how you see this process, how easy or difficult it's been for you, how hard you are on yourself whenever you are thinking of creating something, whenever you've got an initiative. Curious to see how many projects you've left on the side because you didn't think they're good enough. I don't think the world is lacking ideas, but it is lacking people willing to show up and execute them. These are the sort of conversations that I have daily with my friends. Very introspective, very philosophical, very analytical. Staying curious is a good place to be. This year is challenging enough as it is, and it's challenging from an artistic side as well, because I don't know about you, but I really feel how the music is absent, arts are absent. However, this is a year for self-expression. We do have all the tools in our favor to create, to make our voices heard. We are getting very close to that time of the year when we make resolutions, but it's still October, and the last day of December, as we all know, doesn't have any value in making real resolutions. It doesn't have any value in creating a real consistency or discipline. So today might just be as good as any day to start working towards your dreams. And if that's not a defined image, if that's not a defined place where you want to go, then think of it as offloading your mind a step at a time. Because one way or another, if you're not releasing your creativity, that just accumulates and it creates some sort of tension that will translate into frustration later. Well, I had no idea that today I'm going to be producing my own TED Talk, but I did. How did that go? This is your form of self. I cannot English today.